So, we got the small block out. It's late. I cleaned up. We kind of dilly-dallied around. I had to take care of some kids' stuff. But turns out this has got the small balancer on it. So I'm not sure what this is exactly. It says it's a 0010 block, which is 350. But yeah, there's a couple other weird things about it. Timing is on the top side. So I'm going to look in to see what that is. Yeah, fun stuff here is so turns out I have everything I need here minus a couple of gaskets to put an engine in. So I'm gonna steal the intake off of that one over there. That has small heads on it. That one has the small valves. This one I haven't looked into because it doesn't have starter bolts drilled in the block, so I'm not gonna deal with that right now. But I am gonna steal the HEI ignition out of it. Probably steal the whole assembly off the front. I'll probably go with the V belt instead of the serpentine for now. Just it's more convenient, and there's an alternator right there. So this one is complete minus that alternator. So I'm not gonna go, and that I'm gonna steal water pump too. But anyway, so you're looking into this guy, and this turns out to be a 96 to 98 366 tall deck. Throttle body's like a 470 CFM throttle body, and this is rated at 220 to 240 horse, I do believe. Depending on which configuration it is. But the cool thing is, this thing, I'm gonna pop some valve covers tomorrow and check it. But this should have the big valves in it. But I know for a fact this has the dome pistons. I pulled the oil pan off. The next video I'll make, I'll show you. But this is all forged internal, so this thing is ready for. Probably have to cam it. If it's got the big valves in it, I'm probably not gonna pull the heads. I'll probably just run the way it is with some boost, mild boost, and then I'll probably set one of these other tall decks up for something a little more nasty, and then do a switcheroo. And if I'm not making the power I want, then I will get a 427 tall deck, and we will make a mountain motor. But until then, these 366s should put out plenty of juice. So tomorrow's video should be pretty interesting. We're gonna break down part of that small block. That's got headers on the other truck, so I'm gonna break down part of that. But tomorrow I'm going to take parts from all three of these engines, and we're gonna put one together, and we're gonna get it back in this big old truck here. And luckily, I actually was able to maneuver the picker around pretty simply with that engine way up in the air. It wasn't too bad, not as unstable as I thought it was gonna be. So I really didn't have to move the truck. But the big block might be a little more difficult. It's a lot more weight, a lot more weight. So, yeah. So I hope everybody enjoys these videos. I know I didn't show any action or live videos, or any of that. As time progresses, I'll probably get some cameras set up so that people can see what I do. And I do a lot of ingenuitive, a lot of things that requires some thinking when you come into some problem songs. That's kind of stuff I'd like to show people. But unfortunately, the short videos will have to do for now, until I can get a camera with, some serious memory set up so I can do time lapse photography. And like I said, I don't have I do this on a family budget. I've been saving parts for years. I don't have tons of money. You're not going to see, you're gonna see Brody heads and all this other crazy stuff, but maybe in the future. But what you will see is me jamming together all the stuff I can on a budget, cranking out power, porting heads in my own garage, measuring it all out with liquid, make sure that I got my ports symmetrical. There's some things that you can do at home that are going to, and I know some tricks with this HEI distributor that make really crank out some power with the MSD that actually is a whole lot better than some of the race ignition that you can buy, just because that has a coil on distributor. It beats the Pro Billet stuff that's separated because you have a loss of voltage and energy there. Not to mention the milliseconds it takes to send that spark, which in retrospect is just milliseconds. But when it comes to racing, we all know every millisecond counts. So we'll get into that eventually. Then everybody might know my race secrets. We'll see if I want to show everybody that or not. But well, more than likely I will, but everybody will laugh. We'll see. But yeah, so I hope everybody has a great night. I just want to show you, we got the garage all cleaned up and whatnot, but I just you know, I can't do time lapse. I wish I could. It'd be pretty awesome to see how far up in the air that engine was, but not my first rodeo. That's why I bought this gigantic picker. I had two options at the time, and the other collapsible ones would have been more manageable. But you can see the guy I bought this from said that he pulled a 7.3 out complete. So I took his word for it, and I've done some big motors too. And so far, this thing, you see, it's like its own mini crane. So without that, there's no way I'm pulling big blocks out of lifted trucks. It's just not going to happen. I mean, look at what I got to go through just to get this off without having to pull a clip. The clip's the way to go, man. It's really, if you got lifted trucks, you pull that clip and that motor is like, it's like, it don't take long. That thing comes right out. So, but without that, with that clip staying on, it makes things not quite as easy, but you know, just a couple more steps. So, but yeah, so tomorrow I'll make another video and we'll break down some big blocks and check out. You know, in my videos I got a whole bunch of bolt extractions, but obviously somebody probably had this thing broke off a bell housing, or either broke a bell housing, snapped a trans, or that was broke off an engine stand. I'm not sure, but we'll have to do a little finesse in there, and yeah, and then I'm gonna give this thing a little. I gotta bust out the power washer for the other engine, so I'll probably seal everything, get both engines set up, and we're gonna power wash everything down. Not hard, just a quick over brew with the power washer. Um, but I gotta scrape everything first and then clean it all up, sweep it, get all the stuff off that I can, blow it, and then power wash comes at the last second, and that's just to get the grime and grease out of all the corners and nicks. Just to, you know, one day I might pull his heads off. I'd like to be able to get those bolts out. So there's stages to doing all this, and you just gotta take your time and be patient, and you know, your attention to detail is the main thing. You know, make sure you get everything sealed up. You don't want to be getting, you know, material and everything. Now, I will tell you, if you ever talk to some of the infield equipment guys, they'll tell you they've done overhauls with 30-mile-an-hour winds, and you get sand and dirt inside a brand new engine, and they will flush it out. You don't want it. It's not optimum. It ain't no $25,000 race engine. You get a little bit of stuff inside the engine. As long as it's not hard material and the laws of physics allow it, it ain't gonna hurt no metal. So, just yeah, that's kind of the ticket. Is use your brain and seal everything up and do it in steps and don't be in a hurry, and you'll get there. Mistakes happen when you're going fast and going quick, and every one of us has made them. So I just wanted to kind of reiterate that. So it's kind of like the saving motors for 15 years. If you got to hold on to it and move it around, it sucks. But, you know, the point comes, I mean, sometimes you got to get rid of stuff. I gave a whole storage unit, an entire storage unit, just like this, full of all these parts. You see all these parts? See there's a whole bunch on this workbench too, all engine parts. I gave an entire storage unit with way more than this in it to somebody for free. So sometimes in life you got to sacrifice what you were doing, and then later you're going to get better stuff anyway. So trust me, the stuff I gave away wasn't nearly as good as some of the stuff I got sitting here now. Even though everybody laughs at my tall decks, I don't care. Whatever, $130, $300 in a trade for a 400 short block with no heads on it for that complete. That engine over there has already had all the gaskets gone through and everything, but I don't really. I'm not really going to use it. It's unknown until I pull it apart. I think these two are going to be a better deal since I've seen the inside of them. That one I have not pulled apart except for a valve cover. So yeah, sometimes you got to go with parts you can get and parts you can afford instead of things you want. And later in life, you got to make a plan and you can get the stuff you want. And you got to do it within your means. I mean, you know, some of us based on family budgets never going to be able to afford a 572. But over time, I can buy a rotating assembly and I can get another block and I can have it bored. And one day you can have that. And it might be another 10 years of holding on to some parts. But, you know, my advice is to you is start making a plan and buy one piece at a time. Just like Johnny Cash says. You know, he buys it one piece at a time. And it didn't cost him a dime, but he was working at GM. So none of us really... They don't make stuff at GM anymore that's worth the crap to do this kind of cool stuff. They make some bunch of electric crap that's all VIN coded together. So the old days of Johnny Cash and it are over. But, you know, you get my drift. So I just wanted to go back over this, and I hope everyone has a great night. Sorry I keep reiterating that.